Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we are in the midst of the Portia problem. And Nadia is testing Portia to see if she can read to find out what the hell she's asked her to do.
And again, you got Corazon going, okay, why did you even bother asking me? It's fine. Because if those were the two things that, like, so I'm taking those things also as, those were the two questions that you, like, she asked, going, should I do this thing or this thing? Mm-hmm. But you could also look at it as going, like, those were the only two options your character could think of, but also that seems weird, because then that sort of sounds like your character really, like, rolled terribly in explaining this particular thing. Like, that's what I meant by sharing this, like, do this thing, just talk to her. Well, and you went, I will talk to her by testing her.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I wonder what test her actually looks like if sending her a letter isn't supposed to be a test.
Right.
Like, so I would be curious how the other one goes. All right.
We both pause, growing silent as we hear footsteps approaching.
She can.
That is your only reaction. Not, she can read.
Yes.
It's true. Portia approaches us, wringing her hands nervously in front of her. The expression on her face is unreadable, except for the fact that she can read. But I can see a slight hint of panic.
It's unreadable, but I can read panic. So it's not completely unreadable. The expression on her face is somewhat unreadable. Is mixed. Is
a wash in emotions. The only one I can comfortably, pick out is a hint of panic.
A hint. Hi. Makes a new perfume. Hint of panic.
Hint of panic.
I love hint.
Panic at the disco.
A hint of panic. I would wear it.
Nadia quickly wipes the relief from her eyes and straightens her back, quietly letting Portia approach.
No owl, I see.
Oh, well, here I am, my lady. I already wrote my resignation letter, so...
Because, I've clearly been lying to you, and I know I've been lying to you, and you know I've been lying to you, because I have no concept that this is a test at all. I just assume that if you've written to me and say I want to speak with you, you know I can read because you sent me a letter.
Yes, that one too. Honestly, that would be really clever, and I wonder if even Nadia is going to even perceive that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Resignation letter.
But sort of like, or like a comedy of errors, basically, in that way, of Nadia going, wait, what? Nadia's still not picking up that you can read. At all. And Portia's like, the jig is up.
Yep.
I'm fucked.
And also...
Over there, Julian. Hey, welcome to the family.
Now
Portia, I will wreck you. I mean, I will wreck you very much. It would be very bad.
Both outcasts, complete outcasts.
Yep.
Put that away. I shall not accept it until I know why you lied to me.
Portia looks from Nadia to me, and then back again. Silence reigns, and it is lovely.
Whoosh! Thank God, there's been so much talking. A little silence could be desirable.
Very refreshing. All I can hear is the rustling of the fountain and the distant call of birds.
Sweet.
I can also feel the slow pain of Portia's entire body as it clenches up more and more and more, and Nadia being more and more confused. And in some way, I find some, delight in that. After a moment, Portia swallows and begins to speak. It started when I came to the palace. You'd been asleep for 2 years by then, lady.
It started. What started?
No one knew what was wrong. You just wouldn't wake up. I was assigned to tend to your rooms. One day, a few months after I arrived, one of your sisters came from Procra. A doctor?
Oh, it started my reading, maybe. Or my reading and writing?
I don't know what it is. Let's find out.
I don't either.
Nadia stiffens, barely able to hold her shock.
Nazali.
So, you have seen her. You didn't know. We didn't know any. Oh, it's just like people
Did say sisters?
Yes?
I didn't think Nazali was a sister.
I
thought Nazali was a sibling.
Did she say that? Oh,
I'm gonna have to go back and check that one. I thought she said sister.
My bed's like, is it Nazali, the one that's the non-binary one?
Dr. Nazali? Yeah.
Oh, shit, I forgot. I can't remember which one it is. I don't remember the name.
That's okay.
Because we were introduced to them so briefly. And it was and now we're friends, and they're part of the friend group, and I was completely lost.
So was I. We talked about that a lot in Julian's route. But as far as... So the thing is and I don't want to get into the bigger discussion outside of
No,
this,
it's
okay?
fine.
So we'll leave that. I was going to say, but, like, as far as I knew, everybody in this universe is able to instantly perceive people's preferred pronouns and what their gender is in all ways without ever discussing it.
Yeah.
Someone appears, and if they go by they, them, everyone in the entire room can tell no matter what, period.
Yep.
And also for he or she. And so I don't think Portia said siblings, but you're going to have to forgive me, I can't go back and check. I'm pretty sure that she said sister, and that kind of confuses me. Anyway, Nazali.
Portia nods, shifting her weight and taking another deep breath. Nazali, they'd discovered your condition on their own, and were worried about you. Because eventually the rumors will get out. That was the thing that we critiqued, going like, how the fuck did no one respond to this? But if you somehow kept it to, I guess, a higher end than the public, which seems strange, because again, like we said, servants talk.
I would love to know what they were telling the public. So what I'm most interested in, like history-wise, as far as what would your MC have experienced growing up in this climate, okay?
Right.
Of going so 3 years ago, your count died and your countess disappeared. Because it's a secret she went to sleep. So unless they had a body double playing her, which there's no mention of, so she disappeared, right?
Right.
And Corazon hasn't, or your MC in either route that we've played so far, only halfway through this one, but there we are, doesn't seem to have any experience of the Countess has just reawakened, law and order has just returned, or the Countess has reappeared. If 3 months ago she woke up and reappeared publicly, so people were seeing her, so she was ruling and doing things, and announced she's going to do this party, that should be big news everywhere. The bread seller should be mentioning that, going, holy shit, our Countess has reappeared.
Yeah, like even just if they don't know exactly what happened,
should mention it. On the other hand, like if Astra knew she was asleep, because he's in the know of a lot of things,
right?
Then that would be a thing to like let you know as a part of your political climate, because he taught you apparently about the city and about all manner of everything. So if you also know who your Countess is and who your count is and what your political structure is, which you seem to be comfortable with all those things, then you should know, and you do know that Lucio died 3 years ago. That's not something you need to be told about. Did he just never tell you about the Countess? You think she's existed this whole time? And so I would like to know very much what the public's experience was in reference to this. And then going, if they've hired someone literally to take care of the rooms of the sleeping Countess, that person certainly knows she's asleep.
There's also the other issue that I want to put in there, just of going, like, let's say about then, why does the public have no opinion, for example, of the courtiers? If the courtiers were the ones who had took over everything, but they've basically seemingly been invisible and nobody really knows who they are, unless the reason also why your character never reacts strangely to them at all, like we've discussed going, is it diegetic that this is just normal, like what they look like, or is it some magical thing that you can see, but you go, oh, well, everybody just sees that and I'm just assuming? Or is it really just, you go, oh, I've known about them for years, so we don't have any opinions about them, that's just who they are.
And I think it would be a big, important topic to go, what was the people's reaction? Because your MC was one of the people, to both of our leaders have just vanished, and one of them has now come back. Hey! That should be a big deal. Anyway, worried about you.
And we're worried about you. Nothing they tried could wake you up, either.
And then my next question being, how would someone discover your condition, part of your family, unless they're just trying to find out about you as a person? Because if your family's still connected to you in any way, like they know where you've been living, what you've been doing, then I guess 2 years of radio silence, even though she wasn't talking to them anyway, assumed, was a big deal. I don't know. Anyway.
I observed Nazali showed me how to take care of you, keep you safe, and then they left.
What kind of caretaking and keeping safe needs done that hasn't been done for 2 years, but needs to be done in the last year?
I don't know! Also, she wasn't asleep for 3 years.
No, she said she was asleep for 3 years, remember? She changed it.
I know, she did change it. That's the thing my brain keeps getting hurt by, is like, but you literally said that you were asleep for 2 and you were awake for the last... That's fine.
That you forgot to and were like, and I slept for the last one, but that's okay.
Yeah, or whatever.
We now know that she has said she was asleep for 3 years.
All right.
And the next step is, Portia was hired during that last year, specifically to tend to Nadia's rooms, and then Dr. Nazali showed up and taught Portia how to tend to Nadia as well, but somebody else would have had to have been tending to Nadia as well, unless whatever tending that needed to be done just had not been done.
Or
for 2 years.
Something happened to whoever was there. So there could be another layer of going like, well, she was hired because whoever was there got way too far in on over their heads, like got, you know, that something happened that was bad, or they just sort of left because they were done. Not without asking me to write them the moment you woke up. I didn't know how to read yet, so Nazali got me started.
And then you sent a letter to Nazali 3 months ago when Nadia woke up, and it was your other sister who responded.
And then I practiced every day, so when you finally woke up, I could write that letter. Hot fucking shit. You learned how to write and also read in a year.
Well,
No, in a whole year.
less than a year, because I was already doing this, and then eventually Nazali showed up.
But like, whatever it is, like, I'm just saying year to be generous, right?
Okay.
Or like just year. That is amazing. As far as I know.
Well, mostly by yourself, because it sounds like Dr. Nazali didn't stay that long.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm like, oh.
And also, you learned in secret. So one of the things is, people can learn to read and write fairly quickly with a teacher as an adult. Like, they really can. Even in but the thing is like, and it can take just several months. But you're with a teacher.
But it's also
so
like
if a teacher gives you the basics and then leaves, how do you keep studying on your own in secret and actually keep learning to read and write?
Right.
That one, and it's probably possible. Like, maybe they made sure Portia was drilled on the basics of these are the letters and these are the sounds, and I'm not leaving until you know all of them, and then you're going to basically teach yourself to sound out the words and connect those to sounds you've heard, kind of thing.
Also, though, if that's true, like, at the same time, too, good job, Portia.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, that is a level of dedication just to write a letter of, you are awake.
Now,
she is awake.
I am curious as to why Portia cared so much to be willing to do this.
Especially for somebody that you don't know, don't have any connection to.
Isn't part of your job.
Nope.
And I was wondering, what kind of connection did Portia and Nazali make that Portia was really interested in doing this?
Honestly, I could also see Portia wanting to do it because it's a thing she's never had, and also considering, like, the ability to read and write sounds like it's valuable.
Oh,
like,
it could be that she traded for it, going, I promised you I'd write this letter if you'll teach me that, so then I had to be good at it to pay you back.
Yes.
Okay, I can see that.
Like that totally, because especially, like, she seems driven. She likes doing the things that she's doing. Like, she does have a good time with it. Finally, write that letter. I used to read to you while you slept, or practice my handwriting at your desk.
And no one ever noticed.
And
no one
fell
ever
in
walked
love with Sleeping Beauty, but I could not wake her. Wasn't supposed to do it on the job, but it wasn't like I could really help you any other way.
So people have told you you're not supposed to read and write on the job, so those people know you're reading and writing?
I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's also like if you were only there for her, but it also seems, it does seem a little weird. They'd be like, don't do this thing, and you're like, but you don't even know. Plus, also, if I was reading and writing, I guess you'd be concerned that someone would walk in and going, why aren't you taking care of Nadia? But also that seems strange because my guesstimate would actually be that the courtiers would want Nadia to die, which is also where the question of why is Portia here and why did Portia get hired, let's say after whoever was taking care of her, because you originally had, let's say, like a handmaiden or a head servant at that point who was taking care of
And
Nadia.
again, Portia wasn't hired to take care of Nadia. She was hired to take care of Nadia's rooms, and Dr. Nazali taught her how to take care of Nadia.
Oh, they were just trying to kill her.
She literally was not hired to take care of Nadia.
Or was she in like a magical sparkle sleep?
As far as I can tell, magical sleep where you don't need your nails trimmed, you don't pee, you don't eat, nothing.
Which seems
like,
wild.
again, if no one was taking care of her for 2 whole years, what kind of care did she need that Portia could provide that was relevant in the last year?
Yeah, I also...
Other than maybe her nails and hair were growing.
That's true. But I also really do want to know, like, how she has such muscle tone after being...
Magic sleep. Magic sleep. Okay,
it's all
but
magic sleep.
The only thing is, who told Portia you can't read and write on the job, but still wouldn't make it a thing that people know she can read and write?
I mean, it's also the thing that Portia could infer, going, I'm spending time with something that I'm not doing that's specifically taking care of Nadia. Does that make sense?
Right, and I believe that I'm not supposed to do that, so it's not really like I'm not supposed to read and write on the job. I'm actually not even supposed to be taking care of you on the job. I'm supposed to be taking care of your rooms and watching you.
Yeah, especially if you're, like, afraid of authority or anything like that. So I got used to hiding it, and I guess it just became a habit. Nadia quietly folds her hands in her lap. Expression blank.
Implacable. So, you wrote to Nazali when I awoke.
That first day, lady, I didn't know then how you felt about your sisters.
Yeah, again,
you did.
You are Nazali as a sister.
You are actually saying sisters. That seems
weird, given the consistency of the rest of people just perceive what gender they are.
Yeah, no, I know.
And as far as I understand, transitions don't exist in here. You just are whatever you are. And because there
you
is...
really don't have, you don't, the thing is
You're not assigned anything at birth because everybody can just, again, perceive exactly what gender and pronouns you are.
Right, so you can't have a trans woman, you can't have a trans experience, there is no trans. Trans doesn't exist because you don't transition from or
one to another,
anything.
you just are.
You just are, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Everything can be perceived.
And so I think it really should say siblings here.
Doesn't fucking make sense to me, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm still annoyed about the gender thing with this game, but it's fine, whatever.
I would love to just hear that every single one of them has an indicator of their gender on them, and for some reason, none of us ever get told. Okay, so I've been thinking reasonably about why I analyze games the way I do. And I've had a couple of people be like, wow, you just tear games apart in detail that I have no idea about. So prior to playing games for this channel, most of what my relevant hobby was, is because I did play video games, but not a lot of the types we play on here, was watching behind-the-scenes movie stuff. The making of movies and the making of like larger budget games, but also like the making of. I love process. I love whips. I love how the hell did you do that thing? Okay. And I've seen a ton of like the making of and director commentary, the making of and stuff like that of movies, like tons and tons of them, even for movies I've never seen before. And the thing is directors do incredibly subtle, complex things in those. If you're into film theory, which actually I have a friend who went to school for directing and film theory.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and he graduated in it, and he's got some really cool stuff to point out every time I watch movies with him that is really fun. But there are things where they deliberately do stuff that's never explicit. It's subtext that is completely consistent to give you an emotional, perceptual experience that you don't necessarily pick up consciously. Some people do, and they go, wow, you know what? Slowly, as, you know, Peeta is trying to romance Katniss, his clothes become more and more directed towards the things she likes, including her favorite color and him wearing it.
Yes.
And or Christian Grey, slowly, as Anna gets to know him in Anastasia, in the first movie, wears more and more, like, open and inviting clothing, less and less off-putting, to show that he's opening up to her.
Yes.
These kinds of subtle things, and I keep looking for them in games, and a lot of, like, big, fancy, you know, cinematic kind of games will have those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But these types of games, I don't see a lot of it going on, but I keep wanting it to be there because they deal with such big thematic things that I expect you just have a way, you just have a convention for this, and it's there for people to pick up, but it's not part of the story, so, you know, you didn't make it explicit.
Yeah, like where we mentioned, I think before, of going like, we wish that they had like basically, I guess, gender monikers, things that people either wear or...
Some kind of an indicator on you somewhere that this is my gender.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
To felt about your sisters. Also, the thing that bothers me is so that the whole society, and the problem is what I mean by the whole society has is like, the idea that you have this large of an assumed melting pot, because you have distinctly, Muriel seems like he's from a different culture. Portia and Julian are totally from a different culture that's across the ocean. You've got another cult, and so then
you have
Angelica's in there.
You have city.
Yeah, and they're going, and every single one of them, apparently according to Nix Hydra, they're all post-gender. All of them. And I'm like, that seems incredibly basic.
That seems extremely colonialist.
And yeah,
the entire world
oversimplified.
Is unified in this one thing.
All we do is speak English. Yeah, that's weird colonialism. Actually,
I was gonna say, and the thing is like, that, like I said, not trying to dig into the bigger conversation, but like it's one of those things that this is a port town, so you have a massively diverse thing here. So they are saying the whole world deals with gender in this way.
Yes.
And I would love to know what the convention is, because in real life, there's a lot, like in my life, I've been asked, "Are you a boy or a girl?" kind of thing.
Right.
But it was when I was younger. But still, like, and I have friends that a lot of people ask. My good friend Scandal here, one of their, like, longest standing childhood friends gets asked a lot which one they are.
Yes.
And it's like, in real life, unless there's an indicator, people ask. Anyway,
yep.
Sisters.
Your sisters.
Siblings.
Your siblings. And your response about a month ago? They were so happy to hear you were all right. I just thought... Well, milady, I thought your family should be here for the masquerade. I didn't want you to be alone again.
So you did write a second letter. You wrote the first letter letting Nazali know.
Yeah.
And then Nazali was super happy. And then you wrote
back
a second
again.
letter going, hey, Nadia's throwing a giant party. You should all come. But that was still before you understood how Nadia felt.
Yes.
Which apparently, I mean, as cagey as Nadia claims to be, and as much as that she's continually surprised by sharing with the MC, I imagine it took a long time for Portia to figure it out.
Nadia exchanges a glance with me and reaches out to take one of my hands. It doesn't fucking happen.
For support. I see.
Also, again, it seems... I hate to say that, but for me, I'm like, Nadia, keep reaching out and going to the main character, especially to people, like, to me, it seems obvious now that I'm going through this and going, oh, it seems totally like Portia has a huge crush on her. Like, they make it way more obvious in this one much earlier. But, like, there's a level to it, too, especially, like, with her going, I'm going to be physically contacty in front of other people that I still don't like.
Specifically, there's a lot of it specifically in front of other people. Now, I get that in this particular scene, she's feeling insecure and uncomfortable, and she also doesn't probably have any idea that one of her siblings showed up to actually check on her, and this is probably completely new information to her, and that's an emotional experience as well, and she's going, not only did Portia do this thing for me, but also to me, because it was lying as well.
Right.
But also, Nizali, my sibling, who I assume is only there to compete with me and be in my way like all of my other siblings,
yes,
did make, like, effort to care for me and take care of me and equip someone else to support me, and I have to deal with all this information at once after what I am is a rage of betrayal. I'm going, support, please.
But also,
can I touch
to
your
me,
hand?
it's like Nadia isn't really the reachy out and touchy type like that to really ask for it in that way. Does that make sense? Like, her just...
Meaning, I can see how it would happen, but I also feel you on, she really seems to do this in front of other people.
Yes.
And there is I am deliberately touching you where other people can see.
And so there's... I don't know how to describe it. It's probably fine. I know there are some people who you assume, like, are really strong, whatever else, but they're actually very good at basically assessing their own thing, going, hey, I look for a physical contact. But, like, the hand touching in particular, it's not like I touch your shoulder kind of thing, or I just make a motion towards you, but I'm not actually going to touch you. It's just so you're aware that I'm like, I would like you to be
I'm
closer.
reaching out for you.
Yeah, even though I'm, like, at least emotionally so you're more aware of it. Not that I'm expecting you to touch me, but, like, her reaching out and grabbing you is definitely different. I don't know.
I see. That was not your decision to make, Portia.
And yet, you have family that does care about you, so them asking to be involved when you are unconscious, they had to make decisions without you. So they had to make a decision to make. It was their decision to make.
I was going to say, if anyone had the equivalent of power of attorney over you, it would have been, as far as I can tell, your siblings and not your parent.
Yeah, and also, again, depending on what state you woke up in, it's like, were you basically in an altered state of mind, like you'd been drunk, you know, you're lacking coherency, you don't know what's going on.
Nizali is magical. What were they able to perceive about the state Nadia was in, the kind of sleep she was in?
Right.
And going, did Nizali be like, the kind of caretaking that is necessary is something that hasn't been done to preserve Nadia's mind?
Yeah.
Who knows? Portia. But I understand why you made it.
Like, I understand the politics behind, like, bodily autonomy and stuff like that is very touchy, but it's also like, like, sometimes you just kind of go, okay, I would prefer in the future than you not do something like that, which is now something she can assert because you also never knew each other. And also, as my friend, you know, Lies, she's pointed out, of going, like, if you have somebody who's your family / power of attorney assumed control over you because you're in a coma, which that's perfectly reasonable. They'd be like, do this thing. You'd be like, okay, I have to do this thing. They're a royal, let alone also, like, they're conscious and you're not. Also, if Portia wasn't getting really any other feedback and was having some level of either deep sympathy or connection, or even like a Sleepy Beauty, you know, experience.
I'm having a parasocial relationship with somebody who literally doesn't even know I'm there.
Exactly. having this relationship built up in her mind with, I'm caring for you, and, you know, you're receiving my care, and that kind of thing, over time, yeah, there could be this experience of, you know, perhaps she even, like, sang to Nadia before she could read, going, I can imagine, okay, headcanon here, fun, playful headcanon. Portia cleaning the rooms and wiping things down, and, you know, and Nadia sleeping there, like, in her first week or two of being assigned there and knowing nothing about the job and relatively little about, you know, the city that she's in, which she, of course, came to find her brother. And she's just there going, I'm going to talk to you because I can't stand the idea of creeping around your room, making noise, and you know someone's there, but not engaging with you at all. So Portia being like, well, I'm here to clean your rooms, and I'm just going to go and do this thing, and sort of announcing every little task, and it devolves into, like, active storytelling, into active, like, gossip dropping, and I just dialogue to Nadia the entire time I'm in here while I'm cleaning things and tell you about your dresser, and tell you about the staff, and tell you about all of it. And then it becomes read to you once you can. Yeah, well, and I was also going to go, it's basically the full-on Jigglypuff experience. Like, eventually, like not that she puts her to sleep, but the thing of like what happens after, and she's just like, I start putting props and things around you. It's entertaining. You should wear this. Oh my god, you should have seen me today. So I gotta tell you, there was this fucking thing, and she goes off, loses her accent that she's pretending, on her, because that was my headcanon that I ran with her. So
she's trying to be more refined.
Trying to be more refined. Which is a stereotype actually that I ran into, and I'm like, I did that on accident, but it is an actual real life stereotype that people assume that Scots are actually less classy.
Yep.
And also that's a thing that's been perpetuated, as far as I understand, by the English, so that's even funnier to me.
I can also totally see that. You look uncomfortable. Let me rearrange you. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So here, today you should be over here. Oh, Nadia, we should change your clothes a little bit. Oh my god, so you're gonna pretend to be the dog, and I'm gonna pretend to be this. So she just turned basically that Jigglypuff thing. We're gonna put some makeup on you.
We're gonna play around with you. I don't know if it would go to that extent, but I could totally see it of just going, I can't.
I mean, if she's drunk, she might.
Oh, she might. Goes in there drunk because you're my friend, and I can tell you anything.
She said, they turned me down.
Okay.
It was this fucking day I was supposed to go out, and they were such bastards.
Can you imagine it though? Okay, so Portia's relatively isolated here, right? Like she doesn't seem to have any really connection to Mazalinka here. Even though they were, definitely connected. I was gonna say.
Yeah, weirdly.
I was gonna say, but she's here in the city. She's relatively alone. She's basically trying to be covert about what she's doing here because my brother's a damned murderer potentially. I was gonna say, and then she's trying to be acceptable in this job, and she gets assigned to this room, and then she's got this whole sleeping person here, but she ends up talking to her for like weeks, and then maybe months. Who knows when Nazali showed up, right?
Right.
And then being like, yeah. So when I'm drunk and angry and frustrated and lonely, who do I go to talk to? Well, I know how to get into your rooms, and I know who's there, and I know your schedule, and I just come in, and I'm just like. Drags a chair up to the bed, sits down, absolutely flustered. So this boy, and I hate him. And goes through there. Yes, absolutely. All right. I suppose that charms me infinitely. Having Nasmira here has not been as trying as I assumed it would be.
A little squeak comes from Portia's direction. She looks absolutely mortified.
Not as trying?
Yes. About that, my lady, I wrote to all your sisters.
Yep. And your other sibling. I assume. Because there's also the other sibling?
There is the sibling.
Because it's all sisters and then Nasmira as a sibling, right? And there's no...
Nazali.
No, Nazali, sorry. Nazali. I meant Nazali as a sibling. And there's no brothers or anything, right?
No, as far as I know.
Okay. So why sisters continually? Does Nazali consider themselves a they-them sister?
Oh, they might.
Is that a thing? Oh, that'd be so good to have clarified. I would enjoy that. It'd be a kind of representation.
Fine.
All right.
For just a moment, I see Nadia's shoulders tense.
Tense. You look tense, my countess.
And then it passes as she lets out a deep breath.
Can you imagine that? Just tenses. MC, who's super into her. You look tense.
Hi, can I
Let me
that for you?
Assist you in this. Later that night, I saw earlier you looked tense. Yes, I assumed as much. It would have been strange to only invite
I would have been
Nasmira.
strange.
I'm sorry, I drop letters sometimes, I try my best.
So, I go pack my stuff now, huh? I'll be out of the palace by nightfall?
You don't even want my resignation letter, you're just firing me on the spot.
Yeah, pretty much. Nadia lifts a hand into the air, silencing Portia with a gesture.
A gesture.
Gesture.
Do not be so hasty, Portia. Corazon. Do not be so hasty, Portia. I will not make a decision. Corazon, what do you think?
You should make a decision.
What?
Already.
These are the only two things.
Either our main character can only think of these two things. These are the only two options Nadia has given us, or I don't even know. I can't even tell you.
I figure at this point, okay, if you want to make it fit Corazon, right? At this point, Corazon is like, I've given you the same advice.
I'm so fucking tired.
And over again. And you, keep going, but I don't know how to receive affection. And you keep being stunned. She likes me, and you keep being stunned. She cares about me, she keep being stunned. So people care about me? So Corazon would be like, she cares about you. I feel like that would be the
dumb.
You have the really hardest time.
Blatant wall.
If I say it for the 19th time, oh look, it appears someone cares about you. Someone cares about me? Because that seems like it keeps happening over and over again.
Well,
Nadia seems like her self-esteem is about this big.
It really does. There's a lot of insecurity.
She's really confident and I can do shit.
She's a good poser.
I'm competent here. And she believes in her own skills. She dismisses them as not important because they're not what give her value. Now, so let me break this down really quick. I feel like she knows absolutely how skilled she is at the physical shit she can do, like creating doors, carving, cutting gemstones, creating clockwork, creating automatons, that kind of thing. Whatever else she can do, carving, woodworking, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. Making damn, clocks. And she's never going to be like, oh, my work isn't as good as theirs if it's literally compared in a craftsmanship competition.
Yes.
But she is going to know none of those skills matter and are all negligible and not important to my value because my value is my relationships and everyone hates me and likes my sisters better. Does that sound about like her?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So her self-esteem in reference to what is important in life is your social value, which I'm shit at. And so I've tried to compensate with all these skills, but none of them actually matter, so it doesn't matter. So I have a self-esteem this big.
Yeah, because what matters is me being good at social, which is really funny because she's actually pretty good at it, as far as I can tell.
It's her own perception. Again, someone could be extremely loved by billions of people, and they can still die of depression.
I know, and that's what happened to Robin Williams.
That's exactly what I was mentioning.
Yeah, okay.
That the official report for everybody ever was that what killed him was his own depression experience, which feels very accurate to me.
Yes.
People don't, stop living intentionally when they're feeling happy and good.
They don't.
They don't.
Anyway, so it makes sense to go with that, but would you like to do it in the next one?
I was just saying, based on how far back this game jumps, I think we should pick it for saving purposes.
All right, fine.
And go to the next dialogue. But does it make sense that she would just be like, of course I'm going to be like, your experience is I can't access people caring about me. I'll just say it again.
I'm going to die. She really cares about you.
I'll be a broken record. I'll say it 9 billion.
Just so you know, this hasn't changed. And she didn't do it to hurt you. Anyway, in the next one, if you would like to join us for that, I will be here. You better be here as well. So like, comment, and subscribe. And feel free to go check out the Ko-Fi and the Patreon. There are some links in the description down below. I trust you will be able to find your way to such things. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.